Hello, everybody, and welcome to the next lesson. It's Management Communication in 4. We are busy with Module 3, Mass Media and Advertising, and today we are starting with our introduction to propaganda. Hi, everyone. Story time again. So, once upon a time, there was a man and his wife who they had 6 children, but out of the 6, only 2 survived past the age of 1 year old. So the fourth one was a little boy, very precocious, very sensitive. Um, he was the apple of his mother's eye. Father didn't like this very much. Father was kind of strict and traditional. So when the boy at one point of his life wanted to go sing in the choir, his a community choir, his father said no. And he wanted to go do art, to go to an art school, and again the father said no. But before the boy was too old, the father passed away, and this was a happy time for the boy because his mother doted on him. She gave him everything he wanted, and he loved it. In his teenage years, however, the mother passed away as well. So he was all alone because his sibling, the other child who made it out of infancy, also passed away at the age of 9 or 10, something like that. And he became homeless after his mother's death. So he was sometimes he had to go to sleep hungry, and he had to beg on the streets for food. But he got out when he joined the army. He went and he became a soldier. A war started, and he became a very decorated officer in the army. He became a war hero, and after the war, he decided to run for office, to run for president of his country. He had a very successful campaign, and he became president. And he promised his people, you know what, I'm going to look after you. I'm going to see that the money that stays here. I'm going to see that we become strong, that the money doesn't go out of this country, it won't fall into other people's hands. And he enforced that very, very harshly. So here is this boy who used to go to sleep hungry, used to live on the streets, and he is the president of a country, really looking after his own people. And you know, if you think about the story, about the hardships that he went through with his father, losing his mother at a young age, and then reaching such heights and becoming such an important person, how would you feel about this boy? Now, I know that the previous lesson talked about manipulative reporting, so you may know where the story is going to. If you admire this boy, if you feel some sense of pride in this boy, proud of him, I want to tell you today, Google the most evil man and his name will come up. We are talking about Adolf Hitler, the master of propaganda, and that is this lesson, all about propaganda. Okay, so there he is. That's Adolf Hitler. Some would say the sole cause of World War II, caused many lives to be lost, caused a whole lot of heartache. And if you do Google one of them, the most evil men ever, his name is very sure to come up. But what is this propaganda that we speak about? Propaganda is often defined as the deliberate attempt by an individual or group to influence people's minds by underhanded means. That means they are not being honest, they are not being upfront, and they're doing it on purpose in order to change people's minds. And they do this for their own gain or for their own benefit. We see this a lot in politics, and even though myself, I am apolitical in my beliefs. I'm going to have to bring up politics a lot over the next 2 lessons because that is where propaganda really lives. So let's break down propaganda. It is made up of building blocks or elements. The first element involves the sender. Again, we are going to look at Jacobson's and we are going to look at sender, message, receiver in that order. So we will look at the sender of the message. And in order for propaganda to be successful, the sender of the message has to have credibility. Say, for example, I say, okay, guys, I need you all to give me 50 Rand of your bursary money, and I don't give you any reason. You are not going to want to give that money, right? Because I didn't give you, it's me. Why must you listen to me? But then, if Mr. or President Ramaphosa came and he said, well, ladies and gentlemen, we ask you each to donate a 50 Rand of your bursary money to fight against this coronavirus, wouldn't you feel more comfortable giving the 50 Rand? Because now here's a person of position, a person of authority who asks you for the money. Same thing. If somebody had to walk in church, is the biggest drug dealer in your area, and he walks into church and he says, I need you to give me money because we are going to open a shelter for the drug addicts in the community. You're not going to give him that money, are you? But if the pastor comes, the reverend comes, someone that you trust, someone who you look up to and says, please, would you donate money so that we can open a shelter for drug addicted people, you're going to give the money. So this credibility of the sender of the message, we call, and it's a Greek word, please, it's very important to know it, it's called ethos. Then we move on to the second part. We move on to the message. The message of propaganda has to make logical sense. We know this as logos. So going back to asking money for your bursary, if I said, well, we need money for your bursary and we want to build a swimming pool on campus, or we want to build a rose garden on campus, or something like that. And why? But what if I told you that a year ago, some girls came to me and they told me that they were being followed by a strange man for 2 or 3 hours on campus. So we went outside and we had a look at his car. We saw this car was we traced the registration number and saw that the car belonged to a hardened criminal who was wanted for rape and murder. So now, please, can you give me some of your bursary money because we want to shape up the security of the campus? Does that message not make sense to you? Wouldn't you want to donate money now? Because the message, the reason why I'm asking you for this money makes absolute sense, doesn't it? The logic. This is known as logos. And then thirdly, the third element of propaganda is known as pathos. This refers to the emotions, the play on the emotions of the receiver. So I'm going to tell you the story again about how dangerous it was when this hardened criminal came onto campus and everyone's lives was in danger, and you start feeling sorry for yourself because you were in danger and there is a chance that you might be in danger again, and there you go, you give the money. So Mr. Ramaphosa asks you for money for your own safety. You feel sorry. The message makes sense. And it's Mr. Ramaphosa. So who are you to say no to him? And there you go. Or not Mr. President. I'm sorry. But there you go. See, that's how propaganda works. When we go back to Hitler, now when Hitler started his message of genocide, of killing everybody who does not belong to the Aryan race, he was Mr. or Chancellor Adolf Hitler. He was the leader of a country who was a decorated war hero, and he had gained himself this reputation. Then he said, okay, we want to keep the money in this country and we want to keep our race clean. And we see this in South Africa today with our xenophobic attacks that we see all over the country. There is that mentality that we don't want foreigners to share in the riches of the country. And that's the same idea that was going on in Germany in the 1930s, late 1930s. And then lastly, Chancellor Hitler, Mr. Hitler, whoever, what, he said, I was a poor boy, I was an orphan, and look, I made it. So you must, and he played on the emotions, and people felt sorry for him, but they also felt proud of him because he was a beggar once and now he's a chancellor. So you see all those elements of propaganda mushed up in one, and you have the perfect propaganda campaign. Thank you very much for tuning into today's lesson. Again, my email address, yevkester@gmail.com, and my Google Classroom code where you can download these slides for yourself, WUOTD3I. Thank you for tuning in. Until next time, bye.